I really like Sierra, and I think one of the reasons that she is coming against some backlash is because she would be what many would consider to be a success story and a story of not only recovery and redemption of sorts, but something to aspire to. So when her words, her own words, when she talked about on RuPaul that, how she was doing a self-assessment of how she got where she was and how she wanted something different and what she wanted in a man, and to have gotten that, having done, what we believe to be the inner work to be receptive of that and to recognize some things that she needed to change about herself, to suggest that now that you have these things, instead of singing about something to that point about, getting the ultimate goal, it seems as though you are doing the opposite of what you said you did not want for yourself, encouraging other women. And I think that is why is backlash. I think, you know, I think that's the backlash, and that's definitely the backlash for myself because I did from me, if you will, because I remember what it was like and being a single mom. And, yes, my daughter's father played a part. Yes, he provided, child support, but the day to day was on me. And, the doctor's appointments, educate, all that was on me. And because money is required for a child, but is more than that. I mean, the case in point today, my daughter and son-in-law, are y'all with me so far? Are you with me so far with where I'm going with this? Please engage me. Let me know if you're with me so far. If you're tracking, I'm setting the stage here. Okay, work with me. Let's go. They are married and they have a wonderful child. Well, one daughter's sick. She had a husband, he has a husband, and yesterday she didn't go to work. So he took care of the baby all day so she could, get the rest and whatever. But he had to go back to work today. And so the work that he didn't get done yesterday, he said yesterday's work plus today's work. Well, when I was raising my daughter, I had nobody else. So sick or not, I was on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that is one of the things that's the reason why she's getting some pushback, because there's nothing glamorous about that, especially if you're a single mother.
So there's nothing, I'm trying to clarify. So there's nothing to sneak to what you just said when it comes to if you think she's glorifying being independent.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
Even though she is married to one of the superstars of the NFL, she is also still defending. Well, I would hope she would still be on the side of Black women all over women period all over the country, due to the fact that there are still men out here who want nothing but sexual attention. And it all goes back to her first song, her first single, My Goodies.
Okay, I want you to pay attention now. The peanut is about to get chewy. Okay, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Okay, because again, my position is I would not trade being a mother to my daughter for anything in the world. She made me the woman I am today. Truly. Because if becoming a parent, specifically a mother, does not make a woman get her shit together, she's a sorry bitch. You heard it here first. And my daughter, because by my own admission, I was pretty reckless. Again, now we're not just talking about the birth control piece, not taking that right. Just talking about how I handled my money. Because I would go shopping before I would pay my rent. So she grew me up. So the peanut's about to get chewy right now. So let's pay attention.
And if you listen to that song in context, it's basically telling you, in general, if you don't want me, if you don't want my time, if you just want sex, if you just want to just, for me to be a baby mama, or, all this other stuff that is just at the bottom of the barrel. If you don't want me at the highest plight with you, if you want me at lockstep with you in a positive light, then you don't deserve my time. You don't deserve my hand in marriage. You don't even deserve my cookies. So this, going back forward, this is somewhat, in my opinion, similar. That song is similar to the previous song, My Goodies. So when she says independent, she's speaking for generally women, especially for Black women. She's speaking for them. And
okay, I'm sorry. I have to say it before I forget. The reason why I want to push back on that is because that song is pre her own experiences. That song is pre dating Future, pre success of her own, pre becoming a single mother, pre coming to realization that that's not what she wanted. So when we become more informed, whether by the life we've lived, well, really primarily from the life we live, it should make a difference. It should suggest that we have an evolution of thinking and action. Because when I was younger, I always call it pre-K, meaning pre-kid, there were a lot of things I said, did, and thought prior to becoming a single mother, prior to becoming, even in a relationship with her father. So based on those things, my way of thinking and acting and posturing and encouraging changed because I had lived to be able from the other side. So again, it would be ridiculous of me, especially if I'm in a position of influence, as she is, to suggest the same things I did prior to my evolution as a woman and now a mother. As I listened to this, I was cooking with gas. What do you think? Let me know. Am I cooking with gas or am I cooking with gas? Please let me know what you think. I'm waiting. I'll wait. Am I cooking with gas or am I cooking with gas? I went on and put the link in the chat if anybody wants to come and join in the conversation, because I have my thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts. So let's continue, shall we?
Well, I understand that, and I get where you're coming from, but I would say this. I know that. Well, she has made some mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all make bad choices. But in the end, we want to magnify ourselves to be a much greater person, a much better person. Okay. And this is what I believe this woman did. This is a simple fact that she went from a thug nigga to, how do the young kids say it? Pause. A handsome young man who is making money hand over fist and is also a athlete. So but I believe what you're saying is true. However, again, when it comes to, because we're not just talking about women here, we're talking about men. Men seem to make the mistake for the this testicular fortitude to come to these women.
Okay, let me fast forward here because I want you to hear this part that I'm about to grow in. And again, it was a really good discussion, I think, and I thank him for inviting me on. So let's continue. Let's continue.
Oh, if you,
I wanted to because I wanted to do something really quick. Okay, so Sierra is 37.
that's it.
She was born in 1985. Okay, so
Damn.
37, and the song "My Goodies" came out in 2004. So so 85, 95. So she was basically 19 when that song "My Goodies" came out.
Mm-hmm.
She was singing to women that are 19, and that's where she was in her life.
Mm-hmm.
She is now 37. She's 37. She's a mother. Prior to being 37, she was a single. So I think it's incumbent upon us when we get to a certain age, and we particularly not even just a certain age, when we've lived a certain amount of life, our art should reflect our life. You know, I will think about Anita Baker. I remember when she got married, and I think it may have been the Compositions album, but I forget exactly what album. But when she got married, and even when she was engaged or whatever, it was reflective in her music because she talked about love. She talked about giving you the best that I got. She talked about, which was very different than the music. Now, it was never salacious because that's not what she was, but her music prior to becoming a wife and mother was very different than when she met that man. And we all know that, you know, there was a dissolution of marriage, but I'm talking about her art was reflected by her life. So when you talk about a 19-year-old Sierra talking about My Goodies, that was based on where she was in her life. So even, you know, I think, and it really is sending a false, it is what am I trying to think? I can't think of the word.
A false,
but it's duplicitous because again, she's not, you can encourage the independence of, you know, getting money, education on your ground, but also it can be intertwined with getting to what I got, if that's what you want. So I think that's where the pushback is coming, not because it may not be a great song. But again, it will be different if she was singing that song at 20, even 25, before she had experienced a future, before she had experienced not only a future, but dealing with a man that had multiple baby mamas. Because see, Goodies. Okay, are y'all rocking with me so far? Am I making sense? Because we're going to dig a little deeper. Am I making sense so far? Am I making sense? Because I'm not absolving men, but I'm sure not absolving women for our role, because we have influence. Again, particularly when we talk about, or you hear talked about in these spaces, that the older women should teach the younger women, and it's teaching the younger women by telling the truth about what this thing is. Telling the truth. Let's go. It was prior to all that. So I think that's where the pushback comes from when you come full circle and you hear now. And let's take Russell Wilson's Money off the table. Let's talk about the character of the man, because because both of them were rich. The character of the men are different. So even if you want to take it off the table, and she ended up marrying a lawyer that was not in the entertainment industry, that still possessed all the character traits of a Russell Wilson, when he talked about, it was his idea for abstinence, because he said, if you can love somebody without that, you are really loving them. So let's even take the money off of it, just the character of the man, being that she has experienced that. Why not talk about that, intertwine that in your song? And the reason we're not intertwining that in the song is because that's not what's going to sell. So it becomes a question of, what are you selling, reality, or are you selling a fantasy? if are you thinking about just the money? Because again, I was thinking about it earlier today, and I didn't even know we were going to go there with this. But one of the when I got promoted to, I think it was my second promotion, I got promoted to captain in the Army. And I remember, and one of the things I said in my speech was that I realized that I have a greater responsibility than just to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, I had my daughter and realizing I had a greater responsibility to her, but I had a greater responsibility to those women, those Black women specifically, that were coming behind me, who saw me as an example of what they wanted to be, whether it had been a mother or whether it had been an officer and a lady. I realized I had a greater responsibility. So that's what I'm saying where she is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you got that. So that's the foundation of my pushback as related to Sierra in this thing of glorifying and glamorizing this independence. Now, listen, it's independence and self-sufficiency is one thing, but you do what you have to do. Okay. But touting it as if that is the end all be all, as y'all like to say, that's disingenuous. But I'm going to be honest here. And I said in this interview, I remember, again, being a younger mind. And by this time I had my daughter. She may have been a toddler or whatever. But when Destiny's Child song came out, Independent Women, I was waving my hand all up in that. The clothes, I bought it. The ring, I bought it. My house, I bought. I was doing all that. Because the rubber hadn't met the road yet of how draining it was how draining it was going to be doing it by myself, primarily by myself. I give my daughter's father credit where it's due, but I'm going to say some things he didn't do either. Okay. So that's what we got to be honest about that.